Trying to wrap up the exhaust, or at least the fabrication mock-up. So one of the tricky parts is, so I made a bracket to hold these two pieces centered inside those openings. But if you just kind of clamp the bracket in the pipes and then you drill a hole where the bushings are, well, when the weight of the exhaust sits on the bushings, it's going to sag. So you got to kind of really hold the bushing where it's going to mount it so the weight is on it, then center the pipes, then figure out where to put the hole. So as soon as I take the clamp off, it's going to move. So somebody got to mark right in there where the bushing is, then drill the hole and tap it, and then when the weight of the exhaust is on the bushing and it collapses a little bit, it'll still be centered. So it's a little tricky part. So I got the electric Bosch brake booster. Now I want to use one off eBay because I really just want to see if it would solve my problem getting the vacuum booster in and out, as it wouldn't fit. So actually it's, it's pretty close to the holes, and then it'll come out no problem. And then plenty of room for the master cylinder. And actually all I had to do was drill the holes out a little bit, and then it slipped right over the existing bolts on the eye booster. There's a company that sells a plug setup for these, and then all you need is a ground, power, and a switch. You'll energize the booster, and then there's a sensor in here that measures the pedal travel. One issue is the master cylinder plunger is a little short by like maybe 1/4 of an inch, 3/8. I don't know, I didn't really measure it, eyeballed it, compared to the original Moose cylinder. So, but it's a tube, so you can almost just put a little spacer piece in there so that it rides a little further out. The one on the Mustang is about, I'd say maybe that long, but this diameter is the same. This bolt circle is within like a 1/16 of an inch or so. I mean, it's very close. So it came with this clock to 180 degrees, but since you're going to replace, the master cylinder out anyway, I just flipped it and then mounted the master cylinder where it needed to be. I gotta, mess with the mounting and the holes and all that, but not a big deal. The only kind of issue is that it doesn't really line up with the bolt pattern on the brake setup. So I may have to make that out of steel, fabricate a brake setup that'll bolt back on there, and then I got to redo. I don't need this big dish anymore, which came out awful anyway. I don't like that. But it, it's going to have a little bit of a rake, not, be like that. Level it out a little bit so it doesn't need to be as steep as the other one was. I don't know why that would be. I would think it would be pretty much straight shot, so that could be a function of this being warped. But no, that's good news. I'm very happy about that. And then I got this laser welder now, and hopefully it was a good investment. And I did try doing some stainless steel, and then I tried tearing it apart. This was flat when I welded it, and I tore it up trying to tear it apart, and I couldn't get it to separate, so that's a good sign. But I did try a bunch of other pieces first, seeing how I can do the exhaust. That's going to be a lot trickier. I'm going to need a little more practice, but I mean, it's only 700 watts, so it's really only good for thin metal. But it can use stainless, aluminum, and carbon steel, and a couple other materials like galvanized and another hardened steel, I guess. But there's got a separate wire feed which comes with setup for 10, you know, the big spools, 10-pound spools. And I didn't want to buy a 10-pound spool of aluminum, stainless, and carbon steel. So I kind of made up a bracket and then made up a temporary spool roller for small spools. So that worked out okay. But there's like 5 safeties on the things. You got a push button switch there, you got a push button switch, you got a key here, you got emergency ground that goes to your material, you got a air hose that goes to your gas tank. I'm using argon. Plus you got the main cable. So there's a lot of core cable management. But I just set it up so I could test it out. So hopefully that works out. It was a pretty decent investment. So I got I got the laser welder set up. I've been practicing with aluminum and stainless. I mean, the unit works pretty good. It's a light duty. It's only 700 watts. So it's only really good for light gauge, you know, light gauge sheet metal, exhaust piping. I mean, when it welds right, I guess. But if there's any kind of gap, it blows through it and you can't fill it. I've tried. I mean, you can try to fill it, but it's kind of a disaster. So I'm just going to go back with my MIG gun and fill any, gaps. This B-band clamp, I don't know. I cranked the juice up and then cranked up the wire speed. Because I know it's a thicker metal on there, but yeah, that's not great. But then it pulled away down here, so now the laser just fires through the hole and it won't melt properly, and you don't have the flexibility you do with, you know, MIG or TIG or whatever. So like this one, that's probably going to blow through. That I should be able to weld okay. And I mean, I did try to do it fit up pretty well, but you know, you're doing it underneath the vehicle and you're trying to, you got mediocre tools at best. They're making these cuts. So this, forget it. It's, if there's any gap, like I tried it on the other side and it just made a big huge mess. I mean, this is tight, so you could probably do that, but you know, these are generous in size, so there's like quite a gap here. Yeah, that's not going to work. So I'm better off just hitting it with the MIG and cleaning it up later. But I was going to keep getting it done because it's got to get done, and I'll just try to do the best I can. So like I thought, I tried getting that area that had a little bit of opening, and it won't touch it, so I didn't bother. Got going okay here, but you know, you got to keep kind of starting and stopping, rotate it. I mean, this one's not bad, probably one of the better ones I've done so far, but yeah, there's still some hiccups to it, but I don't know. Hope I didn't waste my money. And not on the machine. The machine's doing what it's supposed to do, but did I waste it on my skills? you know, or lack of. So I'll just keep practicing. Mocked up the exhaust tip that I had in my mind of what I wanted it to look like. It's very, very crude, very rough. It's just made out of regular steel, so I could do it quickly and not waste expensive materials, but I think I like it. I mean, it's hard to visualize when it's going to be all done, but I think this side doesn't have the inner piece in it. This side kind of does, but I kind of screwed up. It should be flat on the bottom, but I had made it straight and square, and then realized, oh duh, it's got to be cocked in, and I cut the back straight up and down, so the housing is actually kind of kicked up, but that doesn't really matter. It's, like I said, it's just to see a visual. And then I got some slip clamps so it can be adjusted in and out a little bit and align better. But I think in principle, which is all I'm really trying to do, is get an idea how it would look. I think that's I think I like it. I like the mesh idea, but I think this should be black. And I'm thinking, instead of holes, maybe actually put screws, and then maybe have two flanges and one actually screw into the other that sandwiches the mesh in there, so you could actually take it apart. I don't know. I mean, this is like, you can't really weld this. I already tried, and it kind of blows apart. But just, you need something. You don't want to just a hole. So I think that's pretty cool. And I got all the exhaust is welded up, but it needs a lot of cleanup yet. All the joints are fully welded now, but it's like step one of a 20-step process to get them nice and smooth. But I think that's a big accomplishment. And I have all the pieces cut for the tank. I'm going to do with the aluminum. I'm going to try to weld it with the MIG welder with aluminum in it. There's some baffles here, and these are fittings that'll be welded in. And the side pieces for there's a piece on the bottom of that one for drain, and then these three will be at the top of the tank, and these will get welded in those for the outlet, for the inlet fitting for the fill vent, and then a future return, if I ever need it, it will already be there. And then the bottom one's a drain. So we have two capped off, one's the fill and one's the air vent. So just got to do a lot of welding, but I'm pretty happy with how I got them cut out and fabricated so far. Got the gas tank welded up. Needs some more work to clean up. There's some voids. You know, using the MIG gun, plus I'm not a great welder, it didn't look nice, but I'm pretty happy with, I didn't get really any issues with warpage. The ring here got welded in from inside, and then I welded the whole plate on. I don't know about welding this very thin, but on the underside it's very thick, and you got 1/8 inch metal to this thick inner liner or inside edge. Just made a lot more sense to me. If there's a leak, I'm kind of screwed. We'll have to go back and weld around the outside ring to seal it if there's a leak. But you know, I didn't grind these at all yet, and I don't really want to because it's an inside corner. The outside corners, it was a fillet, so there's plenty of material, but you can see where it's shallow here. So luckily it's easy to fix, because when you go back over it, it kind of blends in pretty good. And I think this is because this had a little bit of a bow to it from the inside bulkhead, and I don't know why. I tried really good to make real good you know, tight tolerances on the pieces I cut. So I kind of ground down everything else just because I couldn't stand looking at it. But it also helps show any faulty spots like this. You know, this doesn't look too bad. But I can go back over and clean all that up and re-hit it with the welder. This is kind of what they look like before. And I'd probably just leave that. I'm not going to really mess with those. But it, you know, the laser welder, I don't know, that wouldn't have worked at all, because if there's any gap at all, it just pushes it, the laser just goes right through it. So yeah, this needs some cleanup, but I can run the gun across that and fill all these voids and smooth that out. This is not going to be, you know, Instagram worthy, you know, TIG welding, and I don't care. I just want it to be strong and hold gas and not leak. So and it's way lighter than the steel one. I mean, that's worth doing it just for that, for the weight savings. So that's where I'm at. I'll finish this up, you know, this week, and then I got to put some mounting tabs and figure out how to mount it in the frame. But I got some good ideas, I think that'll work. So keep on.